Okay. Wanted to get your feedback and direction on a potential to abandon a right-of-way that the village has. It's called Denicello Court. And Lauren, if you don't mind, if you'll pull up the attachment to that, it just gives you a little reference of location. We have recently found out that this road or court, if you will, is actually the entrance to the marina. It is wholly inside their fence, and right now there is a Pinehurst Resort and Country Club gate across it, as you probably are well aware of if you've ever go to the marina. For at some point in time, well, this particular cul-de-sac was donated or was conveyed to the village when the Pinehurst Incorporated back in the day conveyed all of the roads to the village of Pinehurst. So I have verified that it was part of the original conveyance. And at one time, there was a couple building lots shown on the original plat. Those building lots have since gone away, and the property has been recombined into one parcel. But for whatever reason, the cul-de-sac has remained under the village of Pinehurst ownership. So there being no building lots there, and the fact that it serves nothing more than the entrance to the marina, it would seem that it would make sense to us to abandon that right-of-way. It would ultimately become the property or portion of the Pinehurst Marina property. And then the maintenance responsibility for the entrance drive, then falls wholly on Pinehurst Resort and not on us. So I wanted to get your input, your direction on whether you agree that we should abandon this right-of-way. And then if so, there is a specific process that we must follow in order to do that. Notification to adjacent property owners, which in this case is only Pinehurst Resort. Post the property for public notice. We have to have a public hearing, and then you can abandon the property. Then it's up to Pinehurst Resort to take whatever steps they want to take to ensure that that property is recombined into Pinehurst Marina.
The resort, of course, is aware that we're starting this.
They are.
Action.
It came up, and I say they are, and let me rephrase that. The landscape architect that was working with them on some schematics related to the marina, they're looking at maybe doing some enhancements to the marina, so they've got a landscape architect group engaged to do that concept. That's when it came to light that this particular cul-de-sac is in our possession. So further research, as I indicated, indicates that it is indeed the Village of Pinehurst property.
And can you just specify what exact property you're talking about? The road that's the
Yes, when I
cul-de-sac,
say,
or the property around it?
The road that you see there that's got the bubble on it, the cul-de-sac, is the way it's drawn out
Yeah.
on the plat. That is what is owned by the Village of Pinehurst.
But none of the land surrounding it, just the road that goes down there?
That's correct. Yeah, that
And-
cul-de-sac that is shown up there is Village of Pinehurst property.
And what have we done historically to maintain that?
Nothing that I'm aware of. We weren't even aware that we owned it,
Yeah.
frankly.
I mean, yeah, because there are lots of weeds at the entrance and stuff that
Yeah.
looks like it could be taken care of. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as I can remember, it's always been just nothing more than the entrance to the marina and has always had a gate there. This just recently come to light through some research that we've found out that we actually do own it.
And so when you abandon it, what does that mean?
It automatically reverts normally to the property owners adjacent to the right-of-way. So if there are two different property owners, one on one side of the road, one on the other, the property is split in the middle and it becomes part of their property. What we would recommend that the resort do is recombine it all with the marina itself. Then it's all just one property, and it's an entrance drive to the parking lot, whatever. That ultimately is their choice. But once we abandon that right of way and you take that action, we no longer have to do anything else. So there is no cost to the village to abandon it. We don't have to incur any legal expense to do it.
Okay, any other questions for Jeff?
Just that this is just starting the process and it goes through the process.
That's correct. That's why it's on the work session right now, is to get,
Perfect.
is this something you want to do, you don't want to do, you want to retain it? I really see no value to us in ownership. I only see liability to us in ownership. So just if I can get direction that, you think that this is the right step, is to abandon this right-of-way, then we would begin that process of going through the notifications, the public hearing that you would be required to have, and then you can vote by ordinance, I believe, that to abandon that right-of-way.
I agree.
And
with
that's all we would have to
starting
do.
the process.
Right.
I agree with starting.
Okay, so I think perhaps if we can agree by consensus that Jeff should start the process. Okay? I think we have consensus.
Very
Go
good. Thank
forth, go forth and start your process.
Will do.
Say thanks to the landscaper.
Really? Okay, next we have discussion about our potential ETJ expansion.
No, but I don't mind doing it. I just don't know if I can.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I'm going to have Lauren help me out. We're going to pass out, you guys wanted sort of an idea of the scheduling going forward, but also on that second page is the application itself, if you had any questions about that. So tonight, what we've got for you is the updated revised map based on our discussions last time, so we're able to bring this to you at your work session tonight and see if we can get go ahead to come back at our next scheduled meeting for resolution. And then what that attachment is, it's the application deadlines for the Moore County Planning Board and then their planning board meeting. So was able to have a discussion with the county planning director, and so some of those notes are in there that if we do proceed and go in September early, and they make a recommendation, that they could have the Board of Commissioners hold the call to public hearing in the same month, and then following that would be their meeting in October 2nd, if all goes according to plan and everything moves forward. So that was just our option. So we've laid out the next couple months moving forward in those deadlines, just to give you an idea. So it does appear that if it does go through, it's a little bit quicker than I anticipated, just the way the scheduling is with the planning board and then the Board of Commissioners, at least for that process.
Okay.
So the map that you see was our, working through, and we had the discussions to sort of stay on Esther and go Hardy Branch over to complete
Hardy Branch.
the polygon or the shape, if you will, to make it a little bit more consistent, where we had dropped down before towards Taylortown, but now we would basically grab everything around Taylortown and up Hardy Branch, Beulah Hill, Murricksville Road, Esther Road, everything else. So if there are any more discussions, or if you guys want to give us direction to move forward, we can bring you a resolution at your next meeting, if that's your desire.
Is everybody satisfied that this is what we want to do? The timeline is laid out. The county has a little bit different process than we do. They have a call to public hearing, which is one action, and then it's followed by the public hearing at the next meeting. So I'm not sure if it's necessary to go to the call to meeting, but it would definitely be to our advantage to have residents go to the public meeting or the public hearing. So
It's all consistent with what we discussed in the
It
previous
is.
4 meetings, so I'm ready, I'm okay with moving forward.
okay with it too. Anybody else?
For purposes of comparison, should we have an alternative to show the public next time what we considered, to kind of show the progression to this, or not?
It's in the county's hands
I
after we
think
do
we
this.
shouldn't do that, because they might just automatically revert to this is the ETJ that we think is reasonable. So let's just go with this and see what happens, would be my suggestion. Yep, okay. Can we do this just by consensus, or do we need to vote? How would you like it?
We're just asking if you want us to bring this back to you for a formal action at the next
Okay.
meeting.
All right,
If you want, and it may address Judy's question, we could if you're agreeable, bring this back to resolution, but just for our records, show you kind of where we started with those different versions, perhaps,
Process. Yeah.
Just for our records, yeah.
for our records. If
But-
you want to do that, I think we can probably pull that together. If
Okay.
that, if
Yeah.
that would be,
But what we would actually send them as a request would be this one here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I
that's
was just
fine.
trying to, for our own, since
That's
it-
fine.
we haven't
Yep.
really talked about it in a regular meeting yet.
Okay,
For all of us on the council and for the public attending, I do think it's a good idea to kind of enumerate the strengths of this decision, because we were looking at three different ETJ extensions. So with the staff recommendation and with the council, the reason for the strengths of this particular rendition of our ETJ extension I think would be most helpful.
It's also part of the public record already,
It is.
what we did, so, but you can doing it again is always good, but.
Particularly if we're going to have a resolution moving forward, I think it just substantiates and adds credence to the resolution that will be before us.
So, Will, can you also maybe just restate these dates again? Because we don't have a soft copy of this chart.
sure, yeah, exactly. So if we're all in agreement, we would come back to your next meeting with the preferred option as attachment A. The resolution would reflect you to that, but we could also show you the others. And then if we get a resolution, then these were the next available deadline dates starting in August. So they're 30 days apart, August 6th, September 4th, October 2nd, and then the meeting would be the following month, usually almost the same date. So August 6th, planning board meeting would be September 6th. September 4th, deadline for October 4th meeting. October 2nd, deadline for November 1st meeting. And so what we highlighted in my discussions with Deborah at the county was if we went with August and September, the way the planning board meets, they would be able to do a call to at their next meeting in the same month and then schedule it out in October. So I imagine it'd be the same scenario. We just went 3 months out. Figured that might be as far as you would need, but we can also adjust these if necessary.
All right, so let me just restate what I think you're saying. So if we apply on August the 6th, the planning board meets on September 6th, then they have a call to on September 18th, and the public hearing for that actually occurs on October 2nd.
Correct.
Okay.
okay, so I think we have consensus that this will be what we will look at our next meeting, and we'll also have another map of what we started with, just for our own records. And so there's consensus that this is what we're moving forward with.
Yeah, just, Willie, does the staff have a position on the application deadline, if it's August 6th? Or I'm thinking of the amount of preparation time that you and the staff need to do to compile it. Is it a simple application, a simple form to fill out? Your advanced coordination with your county counterparts is I'm very glad to hear that.
What we'll do, we'll set everything up as far as the map and resolution going forward. We may want to add on to that, maybe a summary, a report ourselves of the area, the amount of acreage, and the reasoning for it, just as another item to add on top of the application that is not required, but beneficial for anyone reviewing that application for the planning board and board of commissioners. Similar to discussions we've had previously, but this would sort of, we could spell it out that, this is what the reasoning, why we're doing it, the procedure that we took on ourselves, and then that we have municipal approval, agreement, a map, resolution, that sort of thing.
So is the August date too aggressive? Is the September date more comfortable for you?
And I was going to ask, would you have that draft at the next meeting?
I think we can have the whole packet ready at the next meeting.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
So if you
Excellent.
do approve it, I think we're ready to roll.
Yeah, good.
Hey, Will, not for your communication with the county, but your communication, since we're doing something just for the public, there's some confusion about ETJ as opposed to village expansion. Could you overemphasize the difference? Because I'm finding there's confusion, and we're expanding our ETJ, not our village limits, and I think it's important.
Right.
We don't have to do that with the county, but we have to do that with our communication to our constituents, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we can add that again next meeting as another attachment, as sort of brief summary, maybe even a simple table that ETJ versus annexation, something like that, and then sort of what to expect, what our services will reflect as far as zoning, building inspections, and that sort of thing, if the whole process is run its course. It's a great addition there, Kevin.
Well, we're on hold for a second. So, thanks for all,
Well, thank you very much, Will.
everybody's work
Everybody.
on this. This has been incredible.
John's taken over.
Yeah.
Is work session then complete, is what you think? Then, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Just
We have a
consensus,
question.
right?
We have a
be-
question.
Hi, Jane Hogeman. I just had a question. Will this matter now come before the village at its regular meeting on July 24th?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
2 weeks from tonight?
Thank you.
Don't do any business at work sessions, just talk.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn unless anybody has?
Move to adjourn the work session.